And let's see, we have Hi Destiny. We'll just wait a few minutes and then we'll get started. I hope everyone is okay with their classes, with their subjects. Angeli, what's up? Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, write your name in the chat, please. Present. Brianna, I think is going to do the attendance for us when she comes. Hi, Arnai, how are you?
I'm good, hi.
I'm okay, thank you. All right, we'll wait for a few people. Do you guys use, this is what I was going to ask, Nearpod. Do you use that in your other classes?
I have been nice to all of you, even after you all interrupted me. Just
I don't know who that was.
That was my sister in her class doing a play.
That was your sister. Yes, Nearpods. I think you use it in social studies, right? Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you guys like it, Nearpod?
It's okay.
It's okay. Would you like me to do assignments in Nearpod rather than the way I normally do it?
I like the way you do it now.
Okay. I might, yeah, I've seen some examples and it looks quite good. We're doing poetry starting at the next semester, the beginning of February. So I might see how that would work with poetry. That would be a good option for us.
Good afternoon,
okay.
Mr. Wick.
Hi, who's that? Simone?
Yeah.
Oh, Simone. Simone, is your sister, have you got your twin sister, is she identical?
Yeah.
Wow, I have a twin sister, but she looks nothing
Really?
like. Yeah, but she looks nothing like me whatsoever.
Oh.
So are there ways you can tell you two apart?
Well, we kind of grew out of it, in my opinion. I don't think we look that much alike anymore, but she's bigger than me, like she's taller than me, and yeah.
Don't identical twins have the same like fingerprints or something? Is that true?
I don't know. I could look that up because that's kind of interesting. But we have the same.
Yeah,
well,
genetically, I think like 99.99% you share like exactly the same genetic material. And I think things like, I'm not sure if this is right, but I think I read somewhere that things like your fingerprints are almost exactly identical or something. But I might be wrong. Best to ask your science teacher about that stuff. All right, so we have 18. I'm just going to invite a few more people. Anybody's birthday today or coming up? No? No. I like singing happy birthday. All right, let me just invite some people. What we're going to talk about today, I'm just going to go briefly over grades, all that kind of stuff for the end of the semester. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about next week or in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to talk about the essay, which I think some of you maybe have started. I know a couple of you have actually finished it. So we'll go over the first, I think, 3 paragraphs of the essay just to help you get started on that. And then we're going to play a Kahoot, which is going to be famous landmarks or famous buildings, which I think will be fun. And then we'll be done for the weekend. All right, let me just invite a few more people. Hopefully some of them will come. And Brianna, are you there, Bri? I don't know if she's there. But Brianna, if you're here, if you could take attendance, that would be awesome. And Khalid, I think, is here, is going to be the referee when we do the game. Saita is going to monitor the chat for me, if she could. And lastly, Jaden, if you're here, Jaden, which I'm not sure you're here yet, if you could maybe read some stuff for you when you come. Okay, all right.
Wait, so I'm going to like read the questions, right?
Yes, Khalid, you're going to read the questions when we do the Kahoot, yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay, that's okay.
Good. Okay. All right, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and just go over, first of all, grades and stuff. As you know, we're at the end of the first. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
All right. So if you've just come, remember to write present in the chat so Bree can get your attendance down. As you probably know, there's no school on Monday because it's Martin Luther King Day. So no school on Monday, which means, of course, that we won't have a meeting on Monday. The next meeting will be on Wednesday. Okay, let's talk about grades. So, as you probably know, marking period 3 has now finished. And at least for my class, marking period 3 are all these assignments that you see at the top of the screen here, right? Starting from 3.1, going through to 3.9. Okay, so these are all the ones that count for the third marking period. The essay, which is assignment 3.10, does not count for the third marking period. It will count for the first marking period of the next semester. Okay, and that's basically because you didn't have enough time. You wouldn't have had enough time to do it for marking period 3. Okay, you get your report cards, you probably know, on Tuesday. They will be on Pupil Path for marking period 3. The other thing is that you will also get, I think around the end of January, beginning of February, an overall grade for the first semester. And this overall grade is going to be the average of your marking period 2 grade and your marking period 3 grade. Okay, so for example, you can see on the right-hand side, if you got 75 in the second marking period, you got 85 in the third marking period, your average grade is the average of those 2 grades. So it would be 80, right? And this is the most important grade, your semester 1 grade. This is the grade that, for example, colleges look at when they're deciding if they want you to go to their college. Okay, so this is the really important grade, the semester 1 grade, the average. Now, even though marking period 3 has finished, okay, and I can't change this grade for marking period 3, I can still change your overall semester 1 grade. So say, for example, you didn't do a couple of the assignments from this marking period, say 3.4, 3.5. If you do those next week, I have the opportunity to grade those and hopefully increase your semester 1 overall grade. Okay, so you probably heard from your other teachers that even though marking period 3 has finished, you can still improve your overall grade. Okay, does that make sense, or anybody have any questions about grading?
No, I'm all good. Wait, is it only for can the teachers only change it for next week only? That's it?
Good question. I think it's actually, I think it may be next week and maybe the week after. Let me check it. Hold on. Let's see. Got to check the official guidance on this thing. Where are we up to? January 13. Okay, yeah, so I think it's only up until Friday, January the 22nd, next Friday. Teachers must review changes. Yes, I think it's up until next Friday to hand in work from marking period 3 if you want to increase your grade. Okay, so that's great. Any more questions about grades?
How many semesters are there?
3 semesters. So, sorry, 2 semesters, my bad. 3 marking periods per semester, 2 semesters. So we're at the end of the first semester, and then beginning the start of February, we will start semester 2. And that runs until the end of June. Okay, 2 semesters.
Thank you.
Per year. Any other questions? No? All right. So what I want to go on to now is talk about the argument essay. As you guys know, you have until, well, ideally, I would like you to finish it by the end of next week. Next week, you're not going to get any assignments from me. The only assignment I have is an assignment for you to grade your own essay. But you'll only do that if you finish the argument essay. Okay, so on Tuesday, all right, all of next week, you basically have 3 options. Work on your argument essay. If you finished your argument essay, you could do this assignment that I'm going to post on Tuesday, which is to grade your essay. It's kind of like a fun little quiz thing, and this is a way for you to see the kind of things that I'm looking for and how you can edit your essay for a better grade. And alternately, you can also work on any work that you have missing that you want me to include in your overall semester grade. Okay, so there'll be really no new assignments next week. So let's talk about the argument essay. If you go into the assignment, I think the first video gives you this outline, right? So the essay is 5 paragraphs, which is basically standard for this kind of thing. And I've given you a breakdown per paragraph. We're going to focus today on these first 3 paragraphs. Okay, so the first paragraph is your introduction. That's where you talk a little bit about the issue of genetic engineering, and then also where you say where you stand on the issue, whether you agree or disagree with it. The second paragraph is where you give your first reason to support your claim. So for example, if you are for genetic engineering, you would give your first reason, for example, because it can cure diseases, right? Remember, your reasons have to be from the text or one of the texts. You'd also give your evidence and your analysis of the evidence. And then basically you'd do the same thing for the third paragraph. You're just using a different reason here. Okay, it's important when you give your reasons to make sure that you're not saying 2 reasons in the same paragraph. So if you're for genetic engineering because you think it can cure diseases and help people to have babies, right? You want to put those 2 reasons in separate paragraphs. So in the second paragraph, you would put, what's that? Here's some muffling. In the second paragraph, you would maybe put, my first reason is because it can cure diseases. And then in the third paragraph, you would put because whoever that is, can you mute the phone, please? Hello? Thank you. Okay, in your third paragraph, you would give your second reason. All right, so let's look at how these paragraphs should look. Okay, so on the left-hand side is kind of an example for you of a first paragraph. And then on the right-hand side, it tells you the kind of things to include and some sentence starters to get you started, how you're going to write this. So basically, first paragraph just has 2 things, right? You're going to start this paragraph talking about the issue of genetic engineering. And then at the end of the paragraph, you're going to give your claim, okay, whether you agree or disagree with genetic engineering for babies. So the first part, the context or the background, all right? Now, this might be stuff that you've read about or seen in videos. Doesn't necessarily have to come from the texts. But if you are looking for some material to use in the text, I suggest you look at text 1 because it has a lot of that background information. So really, you're just starting your essay, just saying why this issue is controversial. Why do people have different viewpoints on it? Okay, so on the right here, I've given you a couple of ways in which you can start your essay. You may start by saying, a controversial issue in today's society is genetic engineering, right? And then talk about why it's controversial. Or say, currently a debate is going on concerning genetic engineering, and then explain what the debate is around, right? What kind of issues are involved here. And then you can say why it's controversial, right? For me, the reason it's so controversial today is really because of CRISPR, because it's such an extreme form of gene editing, right? So that's something you could talk about. One thing I should mention is if you're mentioning any of these terms like IVF or CRISPR, okay, you can't just drop them in. You've got to explain a little bit what those terms mean. Okay, you can't just say, oh, it's controversial because of CRISPR. You've got to say what CRISPR means or what CRISPR entails. All right. So there's probably 3 or 4 sentences just for the giving the context. And then importantly, at the end of that paragraph is where you just say what side of the issue you're on. And you could start that by saying something like, based on the information presented in these texts, or after reading multiple perspectives on the issue, genetic engineering should or should not be allowed. And then you finish the paragraph by just giving a very, very brief 1 to 2 sentence summary of your reasons, right? You don't want to go into a great deal of detail here about your reasons, because you're going to do that in the next paragraphs. You're just really giving a summary. It's almost like you're giving the reader a taste of what's to come. Okay, so my reason is the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages, right? Very brief, because then the reader knows I'm going to explain what that means in the next few paragraphs. Okay, so that's paragraph 1, the introduction. Any questions on that paragraph? I'm going to take that as a note. Okay, let's go on to the second and third paragraph. So these 2 paragraphs are very similar. It's where you give your reason, evidence, and analysis. You're going to split your reasons up, right? So your first reason will go in paragraph 2. Your second reason will go in paragraph 3. So let's look at an example of paragraph 2. Okay, so your first sentence is just saying what your reason is. Okay, in your own words and very briefly. For example, one reason that strongly supports this claim is the amazing potential of genetic engineering to cure many kinds of human disease. Bam, right? Very short, brief, just saying what the reason is, because it can cure lots of different types of diseases, okay? The next part of this paragraph is giving your evidence, basically means quoting from the text. Okay, now you've got to make sure when you're quoting a few things. Firstly, you've got to make sure that this quote that you're using supports this reason, right? So if your reason is about curing lots of different types of diseases, but then the evidence you give is talking about inequality, then that's no good. No bueno, right? Because it's not connected. Everything's got to be connected. So you would say something like a piece of textual evidence that supports this, or you could just say, for example, and then say where the text is, what the text is, right? You could say the New York Times article or whatever it is. You don't have to, but you can give the title of the article. It's at the top of the article. You can give the writer and then give the quote. Remember, your quote has to use these things, quotation marks. And then after the quote, you say which text it comes from. And for that, you just write text 1, text 2, or text 3. That's all you have to write. Okay. And then the final part of this paragraph is explaining what this quote means. Okay. Don't just drop the quote in and expect the reader to understand what's going on here. You got to say what it means. This means that some diseases that have been passed down in families for generations can suddenly be completely removed forever. Right? That's why this is a good piece of evidence, because it supports my claim about human diseases. Every parent would want this for their own children, as it would eliminate or get rid of all kinds of needless suffering. If we have the technology, then we should use it, right? So you can, for this part of the paragraph is really the most important paragraph, and you should write as much as you can to talk about this quote, contextualize this quote, okay? Because there's a lot of the grade in this part of the essay. If you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, after you've done this first bit, you could also introduce another quote and talk about what that quote means and how it supports your claim. All right, that's entirely up to you. And then the third paragraph is pretty much completely the same. All right, you're giving a different reason here. Now, because you're giving a different reason, you want to start this paragraph by what we call transition words or transition phrases. Just little signposts in the essay so the reader knows where you're going. So you might say something like, in addition, so the reader knows you're going to give another reason, or another reason that supports this claim is, moreover. All right, so you're giving another reason here. Very briefly say what the reason is. Go into your quote. Right, you got your author, name of the article. You got your quote marks with your quote. Okay, you say which text it's from, text 3, and then you explain what this means. His argument is that. Right, and you can use any of these sentence starters for the analysis part. Okay, so that's the 2 body paragraphs. Any questions on these sections?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we use 2 pieces of evidence per paragraph?
You can, yes, you can. The other thing I should say is that your essay needs to have evidence from 3 different texts. Okay, now we have 3 texts, so you have to find evidence from all 3 of them and quote from all 3 of them. Okay, now the good thing about how these texts are set up is that the first text, text 1, has arguments for and against genetic engineering. So that's one you can always use to support your claim or to show the opposing claim. Okay, text 2 is very much against genetic engineering, and text 3 is very much for genetic engineering. So in paragraphs 2, 3, and 4, so remember paragraphs 2 and 3 are your reasons for in support of your claim. Paragraph 4 is the opposing claim. In those 3 paragraphs, you should come up with evidence from the 3 different texts. Right? So for example, if you are arguing that genetic engineering should not be allowed, okay, you've given your claim in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, you're giving your first reason. Let's say your first reason is because genetic engineering could cause inequality, right? You're probably going to use text 2 for that one, okay, because it talks a lot about the inequality in text 2. Okay, so you've used text 2 in the second paragraph. The third paragraph, you're going to give another reason why you think genetic engineering is wrong, and say your second reason is because it's dangerous, or we don't know what the consequences are, all right? Now, you don't really want to use text 2 again because you've already used text 2. So you probably want to go to text 1 and find a quote from text 1. Okay, so you've got text 2 in the second paragraph, you've got text 1 in the third paragraph. Fourth paragraph, which we'll talk about next week, is where you give your opposing claim. So the other side of the argument is people who say that genetic engineering should be allowed, right? And the main argument for that is because it cures diseases. Now, where are you going to get the evidence from that? Well, that's really text 3. Okay, so in this way, you've used 3 different texts. Okay, you've used 2 texts in favor of your argument and 1 text which shows the other side of the argument. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So we'll talk next week about paragraphs 4 and 5, the last 2 paragraphs of your essay. You know that in the assignment, I've given you the whole whole essay, my example for you to look at to see how I've structured it. Okay, so you can always use that as well. Okay, so if there's no more questions about the essay, I think we'll do the Kahoot. And the Kahoot is going to be on famous landmarks. Just out of interest, does anyone know what this is called on the screen here?
Isn't it the
Leaning Tower of Pisa?
Leaning Tower of Pisa?
It is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Does anyone know which country it is in?
Italy?
It is in, yeah. And it doesn't actually lean as much as that these days because they kind of corrected it a little bit. I went there a few years ago. It's very weird to be on this tower that's at such an angle. All right. So we're going to do famous landmarks.
Yeah, right now.
What's that?
You can go in it.
You can go in it. You didn't used to be able to because it leaned so much they wouldn't let people in. They were afraid it was going to fall down. But then they stabilized it and they let people in. But I'm imagining because of coronavirus, I'm imagining it's closed again now for a while. But Pisa is a very pretty city in Italy. All right, let's play the Kahoot. Khalid is gonna read out the questions for me. Remember, this will be for extra credit. It might increase your overall semester 1 grade. Maybe that's a good idea.
Wait, do you read the questions off your screen, or I'll read the questions off your screen, right?
Yeah, you are, Khalid, if you don't mind. And you can also play as well if you want.
Oh no, I'm not gonna play.
Okay. Well, you'll get the extra credit anyway because you're doing this this for me. Okay, so the pin is going to be 689-6417. And remember, you're going to kahoot.it. And remember that if you want the extra credit, you probably want to tell me what your real name is. 689-6417. I see some former winners here. Nathan, Saita, Michael. Who else won?
Wait, are you screen sharing right now?
I am. Can everyone see my screen?
I can't see it.
See it.
You
Yeah,
can.
I can see it.
Okay, good.
I think
sure.
oh, hold on.
Wow, this is cool. This glacier thing.
Too bad they might all melt due to global warming.
Oh, that is a very good point. Well, Whoopty's back. Welcome back, Whoopty. We missed you. Yeah, in 20 years' time, probably not going to be many of those glaciers left, unfortunately. All right, we have 17. Does anybody else want to join? Jules, hi, nice to see you, Jules. Christian, nice to see you. Lewis, nice to see you. Riley. SM. Who is SM? Saita? All right, anybody else? Who's SM? Sergely. Sergely. Bida, beautiful avocados. All right, anybody else want to play? All right, maybe we'll start. If you still want to play, you can always join while we're playing the game. All right, let's go. Khalid, if you're there, if you read the questions for us.
First question. What famous New York City landmark is this? We got red, Freedom Tower, yellow, Chrysler Building, and blue, Empire State Building, green, Abraham Lincoln High School.
One thing I wondered, for those of you who haven't been to the school because of you've been remote, do any of you know what the school even looks like?
Isn't it on the school website?
It is on the school website, yeah. And you're very lucky. And you're very lucky because the school was under like scaffolding for like 3 years, so now it actually looks pretty beautiful. Yes, Empire State Building. Good. Melissa. Question 2.
In India, he built it to bury his wife inside. Orange pyramids, blue Eiffel Tower, red Taj Mahal, and green is, what does that say?
Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls, which is on the border of American.
I never knew that he built it to bury his wife.
Yep. built
I
this.
think we learned about. I think I learned about it in social studies.
You probably did, yeah.
Mhm.
Probably did. I haven't been there, but it looks beautiful. Yes, the Taj Mahal. He built. He was an Indian ruler, and he built this building for one reason, and that was to put his dead wife inside, basically. And I think it's a beautiful building. I don't know if anybody's been. All right. Next question. Question 3.
British people can use it to tell the time. Red Liberty Bell, yellow London Eye, blue Big Ben, and green Statue of Liberty.
I actually used to live very close to this building. Yes, this is Big Ben. This is like in the Houses of Parliament, which is basically the equivalent of the American Capitol in Washington, D.C. It's where all the laws are produced. Big Ben. It's actually the name of the bell. All right, next question. Question 4.
In the U.S., its ring is the sound of freedom. Red Golden Gate, yellow Liberty Bell, blue Petra, and green Big Ben.
Yes, Liberty Bell. Extra credit. Anyone know which city it's in?
London.
Not in London.
And Pennsylvania.
That's in Pennsylvania. What city in Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. It is in Philadelphia. And anyone know why it's in Philadelphia? The reason is because Philadelphia used to be the capital. So that's why it's in Philadelphia. And it's also where the Declaration of Independence was signed, I think. Okay. Nathan in the lead. Question 5. Khalid?
In which American city is Hollywood? Red New York City, yellow Chicago, blue San Diego, and green Los Angeles.
I feel this question is too easy. Yes, it is Los Angeles. Interesting fact, the film industry used to be based in New York City, and then it moved to Los Angeles because the light was better in California. All right. Nathan's still in the lead. Sergio, I think Sergio in second. Question 6.
Where would you find these pyramids? You got red Arizona, yellow Pakistan, blue Egypt, and green Sudan.
Has anyone ever been on a camel?
At the zoo.
Did you actually go on the camel there at the zoo?
Yeah, at the Bronx Zoo, they have the camel rides there.
They have camel rides at the Bronx Zoo?
Yeah, I forgot where it's in forgot what section it's in, but it's near like the food court and the tram, like the air ride thing.
I never knew that. I've been
Over
to
in that section.
Oh,
There's the camel.
Interesting. All right. Yes, this is in Egypt. Okay, question 7.
In the UAE, it's the tallest structure in the world. Red Shagaha Tower, yellow Sears Tower, green Empire State, and blue Burj Khalifa.
Yes, I think this is still the tallest building in the world, as far as I'm aware. Well, they keep building taller ones all the time. Yeah, Burj Khalifa. Yes, it is. I think it's in Kuala Lumpur. Is the name of the city. Not Shanghai. Jules in the lead, sneaking up there. All right, beautiful. Question 8.
A bunch of big rocks in England that are 5,000 years old. Red, Easter Island. Yellow, Stonehenge. Blue, Great Wall. And green, Pyramids of Giza.
I've been to this place, and no one actually knows why they were built that way. Lots of theories. Yes, called Stonehenge. Stonehenge. All right. Oh, Nathan back in the lead. Look at this. Question 9.
Which country gave America the Statue of Liberty? Red, Russia. Yellow, France. Blue, England. And green, Spain.
Didn't when we first got it, it was like copper?
Yes, it was actually gold color. And because copper oxidizes, it actually got that green on it, because when it comes in contact with air, copper forms copper oxide. I'm doing a little science here. And what's called verdigris, this kind of green stuff, covers the gold and it makes it all green. So anything made of copper doesn't actually start off being green. It turns green when it comes in contact with air. And the other thing about the Statue of Liberty is it did come from France, and it actually faces France. So the way the which Statue of Liberty faces, it doesn't face New York, it faces France, which is where it came from. Nathan's still in the lead. Question 10.
Some people think it's the only man-made object that can be seen from space. Red, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, yeah.
Yellow, Great Wall. Blue, Tokyo Tower. And green, Pyramids.
Notre Dame, not the university in Indiana. This is the cathedral in Paris, France.
Didn't it burn down?
It did. You're right. It burned down a few years ago. Yeah, very sad because it's a beautiful building. The Great Wall in China. All right. Very close at the top. Whoopty. I really want Whoopty to win just because I can find out who he is. Question 11. Last question.
It's Arizona's most famous giant hole in the ground. Red, Great Canyon. Yellow, Half Dome. Blue, Really Big Canyon. And green, Great Canyon.
Grand Canyon, yes.
Oh, I meant the Grand Canyon. Yeah, my bad.
Careful how you answer here. Yes, Grand Canyon in Arizona. Let's see who won. Third place, we have Whoopty. We'll find out who you are one day, Whoopty. Second place, Michael. And in first place, former winner, I believe, Mr. Nathan Trevino. Well done, Nathan.
I think it's...
Congratulations to you, and thank you all for playing.
I think this is the third time I won in a row.
I think it may well be. I think you might well be right, Nathan. Maybe we'll do a more difficult one next time. All right, if I can find out the right screen to go to, here it is. I'm going to stop sharing so I can say goodbye to everybody. Have a good long weekend, everybody. Remember, you have Monday off, no school on Monday. And take care. Have a good time. I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but I think it'll be nicer Sunday and Monday. And I'll speak to you all next Wednesday when we have a meeting next Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend, Stacy.
You too. Thank you. Everybody.